everyone. Good morning. I am going to get us on Facebook really quickly here. So while I'm doing that, I'm just going to see if you guys wouldn't mind just posting in the chat what city and state and brokerage that you're with. It's always nice to get that information, see who we're talking to. Here we go. So I think we're streaming on Facebook Live as well. All right, that's what it says. My computer says that it's 10:01 and we're live on Facebook and live on the webinar here. Welcome everyone. My name is Eleni Summershield. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at Wise Agent. I have with me Isaiah Colton, who is the co-founder and CEO of Real Estate Nexus. Welcome, Isaiah. Thanks for joining us today.
Very excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about, how the psychology of converting leads. I think just even converting leads. I mean, that's always a hot topic because I know, capturing leads is one thing, and that's fine to do. You should be doing that, but then there's that next step that comes along the process there, which is actually converting them, which can be a tricky thing to do, but with the right tools, and everyone's able to hopefully convert some of those leads. So we're gonna be talking about that today. If you wouldn't mind just telling everyone what Real Estate Nexus is and what you guys do over there, I think everyone would really enjoy learning.
Yeah, absolutely. So my background is in sales and marketing my whole life. Before Real Estate Nexus, I was VP of sales for an online marketing company. And I got involved in real estate in 2014 and just kind of applied my skills to real estate. And we ended up doing very, very well and ended up scaling a really dynamic brokerage. And then I got an itch to go out and do something I thought the industry needed, and that was develop a service to help people convert their leads better. And so, what Real Estate Nexus, what we focus on is helping people really leverage technology and marketing that they already have at their fingertips to generate more business from their database, with a strong focus on listings, to draw listings from their database. As well as build what I call a power brand over time, so they can get more inbound phone calls and inbound inquiries over time is really our main focus. And we try to lead by example. So in addition to Real Estate Nexus, I'm also head of growth for our brokerage still. I have somebody else that operates it on a day-to-day basis. But we're fortunate to be able to use all of our strategies on our brokerage and try to lead by examples. We're building it out. And so we're having a lot of fun doing it. And I have a tremendous passion for this topic because I thought it was all about lead generation when I first got started. And while that's extremely important, it means nothing if you can't convert them. And it's impossible to scale and be profitable and achieve your personal goals if you can't do that. And so I'm really excited to talk about how to leverage technology, specifically, how to leverage Wise Agent's technology stack to achieve that goal, and then how to scale using technology and marketing strategies. So I'm really excited for today's topic.
Yeah, and I love what you said, being able to leverage your database, your existing database for listings. I think that's one thing that a lot of people miss out on. National Association of Realtors says that over 80% of the realtors don't go forward with a second transaction with people they've already transacted with. And I'm like, that's just crazy. It's like
it's mind-blowing.
You have people's contact information, you've built a relationship, you've built trust, which is something that's huge when you're doing business with somebody with an extreme amount of money, right?
Yep.
Generally speaking, houses are, can be costly. And so when you have that trust with them, it's like, take that to the next level and, continue on that process, continue that relationship, because they might be buying, I think the statistic is that people buy every 7 to 9 years. They're buying or selling homes, and their homes. And so, especially right now in this economy where prices are really high, listings are hard to come by. But if the general population is educated on the equity that they have in the house, then they can make an informed decision on possibly selling, making a profit and going on and buying something bigger, or you know, I've known people that they take a profit from one house and buy two houses, you know, two
Right.
smaller houses and have rental
Yeah.
income. So, you know, passing on that education to people is something that's what realtors' jobs are, to do that. So
Yeah, I just saw a comment from John, and it's so true. For those of you that hang till the end with us and stay for the whole thing, I have a really special 5-minute training. I would call it a bonus training that I normally don't do to the public. I only do it for paid clients, but I really want to give back. And it's along the lines of the very topic we're talking about, is how to gain massive momentum and make your current clients and your past clients, as well as your SOI, part of a sales army, a marketing and sales army, for it, so to speak. So it'll be kind of a little bonus training if we have some time to go through for those of you that stay till the end.
Yeah, awesome. And so this is being recorded, so hopefully you even make it to the end. Even during the recording, you'll get
Yes, make it to the end of the recording. That's right.
So everyone that's registered for this webinar is going to get the recording. We are also live on Facebook, so go through and watch the whole thing, because this is going to be awesome.
Yes.
Some great tidbits that you're giving out to everyone. So why don't we get started? And you know, I know you had a few slides that you wanted to show, a couple of things that you wanted to go over. So
yeah, if it's okay, can I use my board? Is that all right?
Absolutely.
Okay, just want to make sure we're not going to throw anybody off here. So,
No.
so first and foremost, we all come from different backgrounds, different walks of life, and we all, you know, get into real estate for different reasons. And whatever the reason is that we got into real estate, usually we're kind of smacked in the face along the way to realize we actually have to be good at a handful of things. And there's 3 things I want you to write down. If you look at every successful real estate professional that has done real estate well in a big way over the long term, not just short term, they had a good year or two, but over the long term, there's 3 things they got really good at. Okay. The first one is marketing. They got really good at marketing themselves. The second thing is they got really good at sales, or if you don't like that term, influence. They got really good at influence, right? And the third thing is they got really good at providing tremendous service, right? Those are the 3 things that if you look at every successful entrepreneur in general, but in real estate professional, they got really good at those 3 things. And I would never want you to lose sight of those things, because that's what's going to help you propel your business extremely fast. So with those 3 things in mind, I'm going to go over what I call the REN success formula, the REN success formula with you, that we teach our clients to help them, first of all, build a strong sales and marketing and service foundation, and then take their lead conversion to the next level by leveraging technology. And then on top of that, a really strong framework to make sure your leads are converting faster and more efficiently, so you can make sure you have the cash flow to continue to scale your business if you want to scale fast. So that's kind of the mindset behind this formula. So I'm going to start off with our you know, we've all kind of seen an image of the sales funnel. Let me know if can you see my board okay?
Yeah, we
Okay,
can.
good. All right.
Oh, I think it just went out of focus there. There we go. Now it's
A little bit. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then
So
just to remind everyone, if you guys have questions, please post those in the Q&A section or in the chat, and we'll answer those as they come in. And then Isaiah already knows this, that I'll probably jump in and share my screen when he's talking about something specifically you can do within Wise Agent. So I'll pause you there too.
Awesome. That's great. So first and foremost, I want to start off by talking about where I came up with the term, the name real estate nexus. Nexus actually stands for the center of all things. Okay. And your database, first and foremost, has to be your number 1 priority in your business. I ask this question all the time for people. I say, let me ask you, John, if I offered to pay for your database right now, how much would you would you turn that over to me for? How much, how much could I get that database for? And I ask this question to all different types of realtors. And a lot of people say like, oh, it's priceless, or, you know what, give me $1 million and you can have my database, right? And they say that their database is valuable, but for a lot of folks, if you dig down in how they operate their business on the day-to-day, you would think their database was a redheaded stepchild, for lack of a better term. They're not really paying attention to it, right? And they're not doing anything to nurture it, grow it, keep it up to date, and scale it. And so the first and foremost, at the center of all of your sales and marketing activities, you got to make sure that your database is centralized. It's in one central location. And AKA, you need one CRM that you operate out of, right? And if you don't have that and you find yourself operating off of spreadsheets, you find yourself operating off of your phone, and you're not keeping everything up to date in your CRM, it is a business nightmare. It is a lead conversion nightmare. And you might as well open up your window and take piles of cash and just throw it out the window, because that's essentially what you're doing by not first of all consolidating and setting up a database that you can effectively follow up and market to. So what I love about Wise Agent is obviously they're a great tool to be able to do that. And there's so many different things we're going to get into that once you have that set up, you have that foundation set up, then you can effectively use what I call multi-channel marketing to reach out to them, which we're going to get into in a little bit. So we're going to assume that you've done that you have your database, that your database is in one area. Now you got to get it organized, okay? And you got to make sure that you have it organized properly so you can follow up and convert the leads. So number one mistake, people think that they can scale just through their SOI or referrals. Now you can build a good business and you can do well through your SOI and referrals. But if you really want to go to the next level and you want to increase your transactions faster, you have to have a combination of both lead generation and working your SOI. So the first and foremost is you got to have as many lead sources as your budget can afford, okay? And a combination of seller leads and buyer leads, all right? And before you go signing up to those lead sources, okay, I want you to consider what types of leads you're purchasing, because this is very important, because you got to understand write this term down, what your cash conversion cycle is, okay? So, and we're going to talk about that. And here's the thing. Once you sign up for those lead generation sources, make sure they're flowing into your CRM. As simple as that sounds. I'm like, why are these going to we work with our clients. I'm like, why are these going to your email? No. Like you get triggered to your email. That's fine, but they gotta be flowing into your CRM automatically. Okay. So
and that's where I'm gonna jump in here and just show what Wise Agent can do is through our lead management tool, where you could get those leads, any of your lead sources. So we have some that we have a direct integration with, an API, right, where you can get those in from, AM Open House all the way to Zillow and a bunch in between. And then there's other ones that we can just capture those leads through this email integration. So if you're getting an email of your leads coming in, you could actually stop that from happening. We'll give you a unique email address. Don't copy and paste this one here. And then you can get everything flowing into your Wise Agent account. So then you could automatically, you can see here what I have on my screen. I don't know how many sources. I can respond to each of these sources individually, so they don't have to have the same message. Because if the lead is coming in from Facebook, I'm not going to say in my message, hey, go check out my Facebook, account and see what people are saying about me, because then that would be kind of ridiculous. That's where they came from. But if they're coming in from Zillow, I'm going to say, hey, go, find out more about me by going to my Facebook account or going to my website. So you want to respond to them in a different way. And we can do that with an autoresponder from email or text. And then we have all sorts of options for you, you know, adding video to this, adding, you know, video emails, video texting. It's definitely something that you should be doing.
Yeah, that's a great demonstration. So once you have that down, okay, now your leads are all flowing in. You got to know what lead types that you're putting into your database, okay? And so what we do is we have different categories of leads, and this is very important. And write this down, please. You have to understand the psychology of the lead and how they opted in, because if you don't, then everything else is it could create problems. It could create problems with expectations. It could create problems with how you approach it. You could get more frustrated than you really need to be working the lead. So I want to make sure expectations are in line. So for example, a C lead might be something that you would pull from from a database provider, a general provider. There's no opting in here, but it's something maybe you're going to work a geographical farm, right? So like we offer a service called RenGeo where you could go out and we can pull in data and help you organize this geographical farm within your CRM. But these are on a C list because there's no opt-in here. We're literally going out and we're hunting, right? We're looking, trying to find the needle in the haystack, so to speak. And that can be effective over time. It gets more effective over time, but it has a longer cash conversion cycle. You're looking at 9 to 12 months for a break even, okay? Or before you start generating positive cash flow is kind of what you plan for. Now, with that said, if you leverage the right tools like Wise Agent has and some of those strategies that we recommend, you can shorten that time frame and you can catch some low-hanging fruit that can pay for that type of marketing. It happens all day long with our clients. Other examples are of maybe like a B lead that some would consider a C lead would be social media. And the reason why these are not further down, because this is what's called forced registration, meaning you don't go to Facebook because you're looking for a realtor, right? Or because you're searching for homes. You go to Facebook because you're having a conversation, and then Facebook put an ad in front of you that they thought would be relevant to you. And maybe it was, but usually you're about 6 to 12 months out from potentially buying or selling a home, even if you opt in. So this has a longer conversion cycle of somewhere around 6 to 12 months as well. And then you have other leads that kind of fall in between. So Zillow is kind of like 3 months-ish. And the reason why Zillow or Realtor.com, they usually have a shorter cash conversion cycle, is because they actually went to their website, they went searching for a home, and so they have a shorter cash conversion cycle. They're more like 3 to 6 months in on average. So, and my favorite, the hottest one right now, we don't have time to get into this, but it's the biggest shift in lead generation that I've seen in 20 years, and that's Google local service ads. Okay, Google local service ads, and the reason why this is so hot because it's a phone call. They're actually picking up the phone and calling you. So when they call you, it's a very, very strong lead, and so that's usually within 2 to 3 months. Okay, and then also you got Google local service ads. You also have, of course, your SOI and your past clients are down here. So when you're working your database, when you go into a Wise Agent, you should be setting up your lists, thinking about the cash conversion cycle and how you're working and approaching this. So you should have a list that you wake up, right? You want to attack your A list first, right? And then you move to your B list, and you should have it organized like that in your CRM. Okay. And
that's and we have that available for everyone. That's our ranking system. So you can have them set up where, your A ranking, that's your, like you said, your sphere of influence, that SOI, where these are people that you're talking to, you consider them friends or friendly people that you want to talk to, and your past clients. This is people you should be constantly in contact with, and keeping them kind of close to you. And then there's the social media and the Zillows and the leads that you're paying that are a little bit warmer, and those are like your B rankings. And then that geo one would be your C ranking. I think you can do that absolutely in Wise Agent, and then always be moving people around in the funnel. It's not just,
right.
when they start as a C, they don't stay a C.
Yeah, they go top
down.
Yeah, they keep moving down. Absolutely. That's a really good point. And so we find if people don't take the time to do this, right, then it's kind of like trying to build the Empire State Building without the right foundation, right? If you're really trying to build a really strong business and you don't have these foundational principles or this formula in place where you got new leads coming in, because you got to feed them, you got to feed your database, right? You got to be constantly growing your database. And then you have to make sure that you have different types of leads coming in, because you need leads that are going to convert quicker, and you need leads that are going to convert that you can nurture and take the time to nurture. And then if you do your farm the right way, that can be awesome over the long term, but it's going to take a little bit, right? So you kind of need all of it to come together, right? And so once you have this formula down, now the fun begins, okay? And this is where you can start leveraging, there's a couple different names for it. Some people call it omni-channel marketing. Some people call it database marketing or multi-channel marketing, whatever term you want to use. What you now do is your goal is to find as many ways as you possibly can, okay, to get the attention of your leads. And I want you to write this down. The best realtors are great at getting attention, keeping attention, and serving their client to the point where they do such a good job that now their past clients become an advocate for them, right? So your marketing strategy has to kind of keep that in mind, right? Is you got to find as many ways to own the digital real estate space, okay? And that is through multiple channels of marketing. So we're going to go over some different things. And I know Wise Agent, what I love about this, and I want you to write this down too, is that sales automation is great. CRM is great, but sales automation and marketing married with CRM is freaking awesome. Okay. That's what you have at your fingertips. For those of you that are with Wise Agent, you might not even be thinking about it that way, but the days of just having a CRM are dead. It's so like, and I'm not hating on any CRM that doesn't offer those things, but that's like, okay, I have a place to store my leads and sort them. Okay, great. Now and there's nothing wrong with that, but what do you do to convert them, right? How do you leverage technology and marketing strategies to convert the leads? And so we're just going to say that this is your database here, okay? And we're going to start going through all the ways that we can start following up and converting our leads. All right. So first thing I'd like to mention is one that we can't ever forget. Okay. And that's, we have to make sure that we remember this is a contact sport, and you have to physically pick up the phone and make contact. Right.
I love that. Contact sport.
This is a contact sport, right? Here's the thing, and I mean this in the most loving way, but if you don't want to talk to people, okay, we're a people business, we're a service business. We have to make as much contact every single day, as often as we can. That's what we do, right? So, and even I'm in a contact sport. I need to get in front of as many agents, right? If I'm not getting in front of agents in some way, shape, or form, I'm not doing my job. Right. So, so the phone is one way to do that. Right. And then the next thing, which this is the most underutilized tool. And I got a great story for you guys. We have group coaching that we run every day where we're going over a different sales and marketing strategy. And we did a live demonstration of how to do a video text to your internet leads. And so, in this live demonstration, I went into our brokerage account. We have a team within our brokerage, And we took 100 ZBuyer leads. For those of you that don't know what ZBuyer leads is, they're an opt-in social media lead that are open to either a cash offer or listing their home with a realtor. And I took 100 ZBuyer leads and I did a 20-second video text. And then I pressed the go button. And within about 5 minutes, I started getting some responses. I got some not interesteds. I got some go pound salt. But I also got some really positive responses saying, yeah, actually, if I could get the right number for my home, I would be interested in selling. Or, yeah, actually, it's funny. I was just thinking about what I could get for my house. And so from that one text message that took me 10 minutes, we ended up getting 5 appointments through our follow-up. So we launched a video text. We're going to put video next to it, because you can either do, you can of course do video or text, but the video is what takes it to the next level. And then we followed up by phone. So in this demonstration, I launched the video text, and then I immediately, once I got positive responses, I stopped texting them, and I picked up the phone and called them, and that's how we got the appointments. And then we got off that one demonstration, we ended up getting one listing that turned into, we got both sides of the transaction, just off that one demonstration. In the past, folks, if I wasn't leveraging like text messaging strategies in the past, that would have taken me 5 hours to make 100 calls to then figure out who I was then gonna keep in touch and follow up with. Where I sent a text message, I got about 10 really good leads to follow up with, and we stayed in contact with them. So
I'm going to jump in and
Yep.
I'm going to jump in and just show everyone how they can do that. So
Awesome.
one thing I wanted to show, so we do have a direct integration with ZBuyer, and I know the CEO of ZBuyer, Steve's a great guy, and so you can add, so the phone call that you were saying is when you get the lead, you can just automatically add it to your call list, right? Which is something you should be doing, because either yourself, someone from your team, if you're running a team, should be calling this person right away. It's that speed to lead is what's going to get you that ball going on that conversion. And then another thing here is you can add them to a drip campaign automatically. So of course you would send them a response, either an email or a text response. But right here, if you're sending them, that first initial contact with them, is you can upload a 40-second video here from your phone. If you've already uploaded it to your, to your Wise Agent account or whatever it is, you can upload this video. And I think you said 20 seconds. We'd allowed up to 40 seconds, which is a long time. 40 seconds is a long time. Mm-hmm. And, you have that call to action of in the text saying, hey, can you talk right now? And that's where they will either call you back, or, you try calling them back. Maybe they say, give me 10 minutes, whatever it is, let me put the kids down, or let me finish up in this meeting, or whatever it is that they're doing. And you've got that call to action. So then they know what their next step is. Their next step is to reply to your question here saying, can you talk now?
That's awesome.
So those are the ways of doing it within Wise Agent.
That's such a powerful tool. And just a little tip, you don't want to use, we want to make sure when you're using text, you keep it conversational. Nobody wants to have a promotional text message sent out and be reading a promotional text message from a realtor. You want to make sure that message stays conversational, is a quick tip. And that's something that we train and coach on a lot at REN, because if you use it the right way, it can be very, very powerful. Then the other thing is email, and I'm going to say video email. I'm going to put video next to it, because we should be using video at the cornerstone of all of our marketing, right? We all know that we should be using video. Anything you want to talk about with Wise Agent on that one?
Yeah, so the email, we have a powerful email system. Let me see, where's my screen again? Where you could send up to 2,500 emails per day. So
Right.
it's not just sending, I mean, of course, the important part is reaching out to them, right? Having that conversation and getting the email sent out. So you can send that out through our system, and we give you templates that you can use. We give you content that you can share, all sorts of things that you can, you know, to have a basis. You can use our monthly newsletters. You can store letters in here. And then the most powerful part of all of our emails is the reporting. Because if you're sending out 2,500 emails in one day, or even 500 emails in one day, which is still a lot for a single agent, 500 emails is a lot. The key here is going through your reports to seeing who's opening up your message. So your messages. So let me, this is a demo account, so we don't send that many emails here. So I gotta cheat. But let's say that this is, you know, these are the emails that I sent out today or yesterday. I'm gonna come in to my CRM, go to my report, and I'm gonna order it by the number of opens. Because I've sent out 500 emails, so I can't call I'm a solo agent. I can't call 500 people in one day. That's just, I got other work to do. I've got other showings. I've got stuff going on. So what I do is I sort it by the number of opens, and the highest one comes first. So I'm going to call Neil first, and then Michael, and then all these other people that have opened it multiple times. Because these are the people that are interested in my message, what I just sent to them. I already know that, and that's who I'm going to target, because they are already interested. You kind of have to weed some of the people out. Like what you said earlier, is that when you said, you know, when you sent out that text message, some people said, you know, go pound sand. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, even if they said that, that's kind of weeding themselves out. You don't want to
Yes.
waste your time. Like, okay, sure, no problem, you know. And
Whether
they
you
might
knocked
not
on
have,
their door, when you
right.
knocked on their
I mean,
door, or
it's
whether you called
don't
them,
waste the
you're gonna
time
get it.
with them if they're not interested. So
Yep.
you get that sense of where they are. And if they're not with you, that's okay. Focus on somebody else.
That's
Focus on the
exactly
person
right.
that is interested.
That's exactly right. And this is what I call smart calling, folks. We live in a world where we don't have to call blind anymore or cold call. Okay, we can leverage technology like Wise Agent to make sure to kind of do some of that prep work. Here's the thing. They'll warm it up, going back to the funnel, right? They'll help identify, but we have to make sure that we're not thinking the technology is going to replace us.
Right.
That's why you got to use the reporting she's talking about, to go in there and look at it, sort it, and then that's who you're gonna call. That's maybe who you're gonna send a text to, who you're gonna call, who you're gonna follow up with. Okay. And we always hear the fortune and the follow-up. I want to give you guys a startling statistic, because of anything that you want to get good at in real estate, it's your follow-up. And here's why: is that the average agent follows up with a lead. Anyone take a guess from the crowd how many times what the average agent does? It's 2. Okay, 2 times. Guess where conversion happens, folks? Okay, 8 to 12. So you can literally eliminate 90% of your competition just by following up, and not saying, oh, I followed up twice, it's a bad lead, or I couldn't get a hold of them, they didn't answer their phone, or whatever it may be, right? And this is where the leveraging the technology is so important, because you can't stay in touch with everybody, but you can keep it going, and you can keep your marketing going in the background. And as you see these trigger points, you go back and follow up with them again as you see the trigger points.
Yeah.
Right. So now moving on, there's other things you can do related to this, and these are strategies within email. Okay. But one of the things we find that people take for granted is a newsletter. Okay. And there's nothing more powerful as your database grows and as your SOI grows to make sure that you're doing a monthly newsletter. Okay. And the newsletter is powerful because it's a way they can you can keep in touch with them. You can get to know what's going on. And it's another touch point. Now, yeah, are you going to get rich off a newsletter? No. Okay. But is it an important part of your sales and marketing strategy? Yes, it is, because it's a brand. It creates a branding effect, and you'll be shocked that as you get consistent with it, that if you stopped, there's a group of people that actually looked forward to that, especially if they're within that 6 to 3 month cycle, and you see on your report they're opening up your emails a lot. So newsletter, very important. I don't know if there's anything that you want to to speak
Yeah,
to.
I was going to show off our monthly newsletter. So, and you know, this is not just for everyone out there. This is not training. So I know I'm not really going through all the steps to create a newsletter. I just wanted to show this, but it's really simple and easy to do. And our staff is fabulous. They'll be able to help you through creating, you know, our monthly newsletter and editing it. So we create a newsletter every month. By the 21st of each month, we have, so like June 21st, we'll have July's ready for you. So then you get about 10 days, you know, head start on editing it, you know, getting it ready to go out. So it goes out branded with your company logo, your image here. You could add social icons if you want. You can do all sorts of things. And what's nice is that you can come in here and you can edit this if you want. So if you don't like what this says, you can take it out. If you want to add something else in it, it has a recipe in it. I had Scott Fielding from Exclusive Realty in Florida on a few weeks ago on this webinar, and he was talking about how he was sending, he does recruiting, he's the sales manager at a brokerage in Florida, and he was sending this monthly newsletter out to a bunch of agents in his area. And there's an agent he had said that had been, and you guys can go back a few weeks and watch the story, but it was so great because what he said was he was sending this out for recruiting, and he actually had you know, a veteran agent reach out to him and say, you know what, I've been getting your newsletters now for several months and I just love them. I love that you're doing this. And it got the conversation started. She didn't, you know, he didn't recruit her, but what she said is, you know, I've been with this company for way too long, but if I find anybody else, I'm going to tell them about you and send them over to you. So you build, it's a great way of building a rapport, starting a conversation. You know, someone might say, oh my gosh, this recipe was so great. And that's what caused the what initiated the call with this person for Scott was she had tried the recipe and loved it and was like, this was an amazing dinner. Just wanted to let you know. So, you know, I mean, that's something that you can do. So if you want to keep the recipe, you keep the recipe in, but it's a great way of keeping in touch with and starting a conversation with your database.
That's awesome. So. That's really cool. So we got the newsletter. And a couple other things to think about too is staying in front of them through social media. Okay, there's different ways to do this, but I'm going to talk about paid ads for a second. There's a lot of shifting happening with Facebook, and I know everyone's got a lot of questions about Facebook, but one thing that I would say and that I have a strong conviction about is that developing a custom audience and doing Facebook retargeting to the leads that you've already paid for, or the leads that are sitting in your database is a must, okay? Remember, Facebook is still the largest social media platform on the planet. And if you can develop a custom audience where you're not just targeting random people, the effectiveness of the campaign and the conversion goes up. Now, if you're like, what is Facebook retargeting? What does that all mean? Well, if you've ever clicked on a link on Facebook and then all of a sudden you start seeing the ads everywhere, okay, that's an example of Facebook retargeting, right? You've been retargeted, okay? And so what we highly recommend, you know, using Facebook retargeting, and it doesn't have to cost a lot because it's a custom audience, so you can do it within a reasonable budget.
And, you know, for that, I want to say a couple of things about that is, you know, if you have this custom audience, what you can do is if you have a bunch of, you know, all of your past clients in a category, what you can do is because you've already gone through a transaction with them. What Facebook does really well is they have a ton of data points on all of these people. And so when you upload your past client list into your Facebook audience and you say, give me a lookalike of these people. So what they do is they take all of their data points and they match them with the people that are already your past clients. And then they try and find people that have those similar data points that aren't on that list. And then they display your ad to them. And so that's how you get people that are, you know, of similar, you know, similar circumstances or mindset or whatever to who you already have, that they will display your ad to, and that's how you grow your leads and get lead generation. So it's it's kind of a complex concept, but really that's like the simplest way of putting it. I mean, it's just basically saying, take an audience that looks like these people and find more of them for me and display my ad. And so that's what, it's really powerful because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And there's tools out there too, where you don't have to log into Facebook Manager and figure all that out, that kind of really simplify the whole process for you. So you can go and, launch campaigns without having to pay another company to do it.
Yeah.
Or you can outsource it. If you have the budget to do that, you can outsource it. So do you need a minimum of 1,000 emails addresses to your database to be worthwhile? That's a starting point. Here's the thing. What I would say is any marketing or any database is better than no database, right? So I would say start with what you have and build your database. Okay. So I remember in 14, when I first got started, I had no data. I had my SOI, right? Now our database is well over 50,000 contacts, right? We're constantly building, our database. And for our B2B division, we have 150,000 contacts in our database that we've built over time, and we're nurturing them, and we're doing different forms of outreach. Okay. So then you have some other activities that are kind of related to database marketing, and we'll tie into it. It's still very important, and something that you can leverage these tools to make sure that you're effectively marketing using all different types of marketing. And this is kind of where I'm going to transition to what I would say offline marketing. Okay, but you use online marketing or digital marketing tools like Wise Agent to make it all work. And that's when you hold an event, client events. You should be doing a client event at least once a quarter. Okay. And if you have your SOI in your database, going back to our foundation, right? If your foundations isn't right and you have everything in your database, it's a lot easier to launch a client event because you can just text them. Yeah. And you can email them, right? And if you have direct to voicemail, which is another tool, or ringless voicemail, I don't know, whatever term that you're more familiar with.
Right.
You can also use ringless voicemail to promote that event to your database. And so events are really powerful because some people, before they do business with you, there's something about meeting in person you can't ever replace. And I think COVID helped us realize that more than ever, is just help us remember that these are human beings. And to write this down, these are human beings in your database, by the way. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you definitely want to be developing relationships, right, with these people any way that you can. Okay.
You don't want to think about I was going to say, you don't want to think about your database as just like the transactions that you've had. I mean, because then that's like, nobody likes that feeling. I mean, nobody wants to be thought of as like $1 or a transaction, right? It's just not a good feeling. So when you start thinking about them as people, as they are, then that's when, that human element comes out even in yourself, where, that's where the impact comes into play, is that you want to have and build a relationship. I mean, that's what this whole entire thing is that you're drawing out on that screen right now, is building a relationship. And this is really a key way of doing it, is just multiple touches and different scenarios. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a really good point, because the second we dehumanize our marketing process, it ain't going to work.
Yeah,
it's not going to work. So I'm glad you said that. And there's some other things that I'm not going to have time to get into as far as postcards. Postcards, depending on your market, are still a great strategy. I don't recommend starting off with them if you're a newer agent, but as your budget grows, building up to postcards, because so many agents aren't using them anymore. Yeah. And so marketing goes in phases, right? So I'll just bring it to digital marketing, right? Everyone flocked to Facebook. And then what ended up happening is now YouTube's making a comeback because everyone's using Facebook, right? It's the same thing with offline marketing, as people stop doing postcards. So they're becoming more effective as long as you have the right messaging, okay? And the right methodology. So you can use them for work, staying in touch with your SOI or geographical farming, whatever it may be. And then this is a final component that I'm huge on, and something that we invested a lot of money in, and that's artificial intelligence. And especially if you're going to draw sellers from your database, you want to try to have a layer of artificial intelligence in your database. And what we focus on, what we recommend, is you find a company that offers a service that can help you track the behaviors of these people in your database and find the ones that are likely to move, and factor that into how you work your leads on a daily basis. And then making sure on top of the AI that you have seller focused content. Okay. Making sure that if you want to draw sellers out of your database, you shouldn't be communicating, and your marketing message shouldn't be completely buyer centric. You're going to draw buyers from your database. Common sense, right? But you'd be shocked at how many people say that they want to be dominant listing agents, say that they want to draw listings from their database, but yet I go to their profile page, and all it talks about is their college, how long they've been in business, how many certifications they have, and doesn't speak to helping sellers at all. Yeah. Right? So that's just our angle. Not everyone here wants to become a listing agent or predominant listing agent. That's just largely who the audience that we attract and work with are, the people that really want to draw more listings and rebrand themselves as a listing agent over time. And so if that's you, you really want to look at your branding and positioning overall to make sure you're actually speaking to the pain and motivations of sellers and not buyers.
And really is just segmenting your audience and making sure that you're providing that right message for the right people. You know, so if you're talking, if you've got an ad, or even using one of our landing pages to post on Facebook. And so I always recommend for people to, if you've not started Facebook advertising, is start off with just posting an ad, landing page on a group like, I'm here in Fountain Hills, Arizona, Fountain Hills Homes for Sale. And I would post a landing page on, hey, do you want to know what your home is worth? Right? Reach out to me, fill this form out. And let me just share my screen here so I can show you guys how to do this. And so you would go to our landing pages and you would create your own landing page from one of my templates. So you can even have like this ready to sell. You could have, where is the home valuation one, right? So I can take this home valuation one. I could edit this really quickly. It takes like 5 minutes to edit, change out the image, change out whatever, the colors, the fonts, whatever you want to do. And then I just post it on social media on a group that I belong to. It's not paid advertising. And then what the draw is that, then I write up a thoughtful message just saying, do you want to know what your home is worth right now, today? Fill out this form and I'll get back to you. And then what you can do is use our lead rules to automatically, if you have a Cloud CMA account, what you can do is create a lead rule when they fill out that form with their physical address. In the response, you can say, yes, send an auto response. You can just turn this on to say, include a Cloud CMA, and they'll get a CMA sent to them automatically. You're still living your best life, doing your thing with your kids, with your family, shopping, doing whatever it is that you're doing, or running your business, right? And your lead is still being responded to with a CMA. So then they can follow back up with you, and then you have a strong call to action. So they would have the CMA here, and then you can say in here, I can add a call to action button saying, call me after you read this, call me to talk or whatever. And then you can put a URL to send them to your Facebook page or send them somewhere else. You can do all sorts of things, but you can also make this where this call would be like a click to call action. And then they would be able to call you from their FaceTime or whatever, and get like FaceTime audio, not the video portion of it, hopefully. And really that becomes powerful. You have this call to action where they would have somewhere and something to do, and then also have something tangible that they have, like a whole CMA in front of them. And then you follow up with hey, so I got to come to look at your house, see what the property is worth. I'll pull some, but you already have comparables there in front of you. I'd like to come and talk to you and sit down at the kitchen table. And that's how you get to the kitchen table. So you can start talking about pricing and everything else. So that's the powerful way of doing kind of advertising without paying for it just quite yet. I think this would be a great first step.
That's a really cool tool. That's a really cool tool.
Yeah.
Love it. And now a lot of people are saying to themselves that are watching, they're like, this is really great, but how the heck do I execute on all this every day? Yeah. Like, I know a lot of people are thinking that right now. And look, I can feel your pain because I'm the type of guy, when I find out an idea, I get really excited about it and I want to go execute on it. And I get really frustrated if I feel like I'm not organized enough to be able to execute on it, right? And then what happens to me if I don't execute on it sooner than later, I get busy, things come up, and then the idea just falls off. And then next thing you know, I'm coming to another awesome webinar like this, and the idea pops in my head again. I said, yeah, I should be doing that. And after like doing that for several years, I said, I'm done with this. I'm going to come up with a system that is foolproof to execute on. And so what we did is we came up with a sales and marketing plan. And if you want your audience to get access to this, I'm willing to give this to them for free. And they can go to salesandmarketingplaybook.com. And this is a playbook. It's a 300-page playbook. And what we'll do is it will give you all of the scripts, the dialogues, the ideas, the social media strategies. It'll give you everything you need to do from a tactical standpoint to be able to execute on these things. And so you can go into Wise Agent, you can take some of these ideas and go in and use Wise Agent to go execute. And give an example here. If you look, it's kind of hard to see in the camera, but we have all these activities that you see on this board here that we went over to you today. We have a recommended day that you actually go do that activity. So that way it doesn't slip through the cracks. Because let's face it, like, I think we're intuitive. We all know we should be logging in every day and doing some prospecting and text messaging. Well, okay, keep yourself accountable. A little tracker here so you can keep yourself accountable to do that. We all know that we should be using video text, but sometimes we don't know what to say. We'll open up the book. We have 40 different ideas on what you can say through text message. And I can keep going, but newsletter. Okay, just a little reminder to do a newsletter. We actually have all of the holidays built into the calendar for you. So you can check that out. And it's been an extremely helpful tool for me personally, and also my team. And so I just wanted to provide that for free if you guys are cool with that. So one of the things that we want to transition into, just to kind of segue, is that now that we have our marketing strategy in place, we got our calendar. So we got our plan and we got a calendar. So we know when we're going to execute. We got to make sure we develop the skills that we need to as professionals to be able to convert leads, right? Who agrees it's important? Very important, right?
Right.
So we can get everything else in place. We can have all the great technology, but we have to make sure that we have influence. We can have the right conversations and the right dialogues and speak to the pain and motivation. And so back in 2014, I actually didn't intend to go into real estate full-time at all, even on an operational level. I just invested into a brokerage, and that brokerage wasn't going well. So I convinced my wife to give me an opportunity to leave my job. And she gave me 6 months to turn this thing around. And so I took kind of like an operational role within the brokerage. And my first objective was to figure out how to get all these leads to convert that weren't coming in. And so I got really frustrated with this process. And so I decided to roll up my sleeves and get in the trenches and just figure it out. And so I started making a lot of prospecting calls. And I was frustrated because I wasn't good at it at first. I got the hot, sweaty feeling. When I would go to make a phone call, I felt myself fumbling, and I didn't really have any direction on how to get better, because I was just kind of sitting there by myself. And I'm sure there's people that can relate to that, that are listening. And so I came up with a 7-step process that I have now, I would say is the number one tool that's helped me have the success that I've had. But I've also had an opportunity to train and coach these 7 steps to thousands of agents across the country. And the stories that come off of it that use this are incredible if you stick with it. So I'm going to go over 7 steps. It's a 7-step prospecting and lead conversion methodology that you can use as a scorecard, because it's these 7 steps that you have to master if you want to be great. You can be good, but if you want to be great, you got to master these steps. So step number 1 is building rapport. And what I want you to do is I want you to score yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 right now, how good you are with people that you don't know at building rapport, right? Next is building value, okay? We live in a very competitive industry. So if we think we can just go out there and just build a real estate business being like everybody else, and we don't bring any unique value to the table, and we can't speak to the pain and motivation of our clients, it's going to be tough to get serious momentum beyond just getting the next transaction. So score yourself on what makes, on a scale of 1 to 10, what makes you different than the number 1 competitor you have in your marketplace, not the average person in your marketplace, your number 1 competitor. How different are you on a scale of 1 to 10? And then number 3 is creating desire, okay, or urgency on a scale of 1 to 10. Okay, how well do you, once you find and identify, how well do you speak to the pain and the motivation, and are able to articulate a game plan that's clear enough where the people can get excited to using your services to help you solve their goal or solve their problem and achieve their goal? How good are you at creating urgency or creating desire to want to move forward sooner than later, is another way to say it, on a scale of 1 to 10. Because guess what? That time in between your first meeting and the second meeting, a great listing agent or a great agent is going to win that because they did a better job of creating urgency. All right. And then number 4 is a trial close. Okay. How good are you at assuming the sale? How good are you at getting yes responses, finding out where they are? And then number 5 is overcoming objections. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good are you at, like if I was to say to you right now, yeah, I have another friend in real estate. How good are you? Can you rattle off that objection like that? Right? And if you can't and you're hesitating, then you're going to break rapport and people are going to see a lack of confidence in you. And especially if you're going to be working with sellers, you have to be 100% confident in who you are and the services you bring to the table. You can't let for 1 second anyone sniff a lack of confidence at any part, because like we talked about earlier, it's their number 1 asset, and it's they're putting it in your hands to maximize the value of it and make sure it's handled the right way. So they want somebody that's confident. So if you don't have objections when they give them to you, and you don't know how to overcome those objections, you're going to actually lose their trust, right? So number 6 is going to be your follow-up, like we talked about, is making sure that you have good, I hate writing FU on the board, but it's just how it came out. So, is your follow-up, right? And making sure that you have great follow-up systems in place, but you individually are great at following up, that they know that you're there, okay? The best converters are the best people that are just great at follow-up. They're the best converters. So, and then number 7 is tracking your metrics. You gotta know, you can't improve what you don't track. Period. So if I asked you right now how many leads you need to get an appointment, would you know the answer? How many appointments do you need, right, to actually have enough people show up to have the amount of presentations that you need to then get to the transaction goal that you're trying to get to? So if you don't know what those metrics are, there's no way you can effectively improve them, right? And focus on these other things. So I put this system together, and it was a game changer for me personally, because after every call, after every meeting, after everything that I did, I had a little scorecard, which is actually in this playbook. And I would just grade myself. I'd say, you know what? I did not connect with them at all. That was horrible. Like my mind was not in that conversation. That was just horrible. I give myself a 4, right? And then I would go to building value. You know what? I really feel like I didn't do anything to besides say that I have great photography. Like, you know, like, and then I just kept going down. And then after every single call, every single meeting, and then eventually I got so polished that it got to the point where it was automatic. And here's the power in that. When you start getting so good at these processes, you become unconsciously competent. And now you can actually be of better service to your client, because when you don't have to think about what you're going to say, when you can be authentic and not have any worries flowing through your mind, now you can actually listen. Now you can actually hear what they're saying. Now you can actually develop authentic relationships, because you're so good at what you do, you can focus on them. When you're still learning your process and these things are not in place, and you have all these thoughts and worries and what am I going to say, and bouncing all over the place, it's harder to effectively serve your client. And so that's the power in this process with the 7 steps. And that's pretty much what I had for today. Yeah. I did have a 1 minute of a bonus training, but I don't know if we have time for that.
I think we do. I was just going to say on this point here is, I love that you said that you started off, when you were talking about your own personal experience with this scorecard, is that you started off saying, like, I gave myself a 4, I gave myself a 2. So showing everyone, and hopefully everyone that's listening right now realizes that this does take some practice. This isn't like, you're going to come in and be like, nah, I'm a 9.5, or I'm, like, I got this, I'm like a 12 or whatever it is. It's there are building, there are building blocks to everything. And just, perfecting it to a point where it really does become second nature, and it becomes like breathing, where you don't have to think about it. Someone once had asked me, oh, could you do a webinar and the time zones and time differences? And I was like, wow, it's gonna be like at 2 a.m. my time. I'm like, I could do it. Like, I could wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and talk about CRM and talk about Wise Agent, because it is like breathing to me. I just know, I know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about Wise Agent. So it has to become that at that level, that you're understanding your business to the point where someone can wake you up in the middle of the night at 2, 3 a.m. and you can just rattle these things off, because it's just comes naturally to you.
Second nature.
And that does take time to do. It's not like, day 1 you're in real estate, and day 2 you're 10 at everything. It's going to take some time. So be patient with it.
Yeah, to your point, and it's really great advice, is they say it takes 10,000 hours to reach mastery. I hated that when I heard that. I hated that. Yeah. So I try to find any systems, any process, anything that I can possibly do to shorten that. And that's why I believe that we were able to have a 1,500% growth rate in our company, is because we're able to adopt systems like this throughout our sales teams to be able to self-improve quicker. Right. And so you don't have to wait 5 years to master something. Who wants to wait 5 years to master something? Nobody. Right. So I've had a lot of fun with this conversation. I hope your audience is getting a lot out of it.
Yeah,
and I do have one more concept just to share as people, and this is just something I wanted to give to your audience. I normally don't actually train this to the public, but you got to get on one of my personal trainings, but I think it's really important. Oh yeah, that's great. Okay, so I want you guys to have a simple model create momentum. The reason why I don't like the sales funnel is because it's very linear and it's very transactional, and it doesn't really speak to relationships, right? And you being a marketer, you probably know where I'm going with the flywheel methodology, but I don't think we talk about this enough in real estate. And so one of my missions is to make sure that when you are building your business in real estate out, that you get really good at marketing, right? You get really good at sales, which we talked about, but you have a relentless focus, like a sheer passion and focus to make sure that no matter what, expectations are clear and that client gets the best service on the freaking planet. And if you do, that connects the dots. And here's the thing, this loses its momentum. This is why agents can be in the business for 15, 20 years and still be wondering where their next transaction's coming from. That's what happens is this model. But the agents that don't wonder are the ones that actually focused on building all three, right? Marketing, sales, and service. And they got really good at all three. And just like a flywheel, you don't know what a flywheel is, it's a mechanism that produces energy. And the less friction that it has, the more energy that it produces. So that's what this methodology teaches and does. And so when you're looking at your business, right, look at the friction points that you have in it, and then just eliminate them as fast as you can. Then your flywheel will spin faster to produce more energy, AKA more transactions. And then as you get really good with your service, okay, you get really good with your service, they'll become part of your marketing team, right? The client, your past clients will become part of your marketing team, and that's how the momentum builds.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to leave your audience with that, because here's the thing, you need technology.
I was just going to say,
to make all of that work properly. You can't do it manually. You got to leverage technology and automation to make it work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great point, because I mean, you can't do it all by yourself. And you know, as your business grows, it's growing exponentially. And you know, your team might not be growing as quickly as that, but that's okay, because you leverage the technology that really has that functionality built in, that can grow with you and that can do all these things and do all that heavy lifting for you. So so yeah, that was awesome. That's a great way to end this. I know we went a few minutes over, so sorry for those of you that you know, we kept you a little bit longer, but appreciate those that stuck in there with us. Thank you so much, Isaiah, for all of this information. It was so great.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. And so I'm just looking at some of the questions here that are coming in. Sorry we didn't get to all of these questions, but Mimi, yes, you can reach out to me if you guys want to send an email. I posted I did post a link for you to try Wise Agent free for 14 days. It'll also include the 14 days free of texting and video texting. So if you go to wiseagent.com/wisesocial, you'll get access to that, as well as our getting started session, our 24/7 support, and all of our free training. And Mimi wants to talk to me. Mimi, go ahead and you can email me directly. And so I'll send you my email address. It's just my first name @wiseagent.com. So Mimi, looking forward to chatting with you. So thank you so much, everyone. Thanks, Isaiah. I will see you guys next week. We're going to be doing a special webinar for New York State Association of Realtors. So I'm excited for that one. We're the preferred CRM for New York State. So that's awesome. And I'll see you guys then. All right. Thanks, Isaiah.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.